right, here we go. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, greatly appreciate all of you for making this show a part of your day, a part of your night, because we have people rocking with us from every pocket of America and worldwide. If you want Eagles coverage every single day, a reminder to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to support the show, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, share this video on social media, comment and share your thoughts, because you always have a voice on this show. A lot to get to. A programming reminder first, though. Myself, producer Chip, we will be live tomorrow, Wednesday, November 27th, in the lead up to Thanksgiving at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. A lot of Eagles coverage to get to and a lot of great content coming your way. So be sure to hit that sub button, hit that bell icon, turn on your notifications. Therefore, whenever we push out a show like this, whenever we go live, you will be notified. And of course, I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Thanksgiving week and you're getting ready to enjoy some good food and quality time with all of your friends and family members. And make sure that you drive safe. All right, enough of that. That's in the rear view. Let's talk some Eagles here. A bunch of roster moves to talk about on this Tuesday night as the Eagles prepare to take on the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday in Baltimore, M&T Bank Stadium, in what could be a Super Bowl 59 rematch. Would not shock me at all if Baltimore and Philadelphia are meeting up in New Orleans come February. And honestly, I think this Eagles team being disrespected a little bit as 2.5-point underdogs. They've won 7 games in a row, number 1 overall defense during that stretch. They're rushing for nearly 200 yards per game. Jalen Hurts is playing very well. The Ravens are really good. Lamar Jackson, 30 touchdowns, 3 picks. Derrick Henry having a fantastic year, but their defense isn't all that good, and Philadelphia has the rest advantage. So keep that in mind if you're betting on this game and looking ahead to it. As for those Eagles roster moves, few to get to, and I'm going to expand my thoughts on all of them. Defensive end Brandon Graham placed on injured reserve. Defensive end Charles Harris claimed off waivers from the Carolina Panthers. Because the Eagles did that, they are signing him immediately to their active roster. Defensive end KJ Henry signed to the practice squad. And then some of the corresponding roster moves: defensive tackle Siaki and wide receiver Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. They have been released from the practice squad. Really what we want to hone in on is the 2 signings at the defensive end spot in the wake of the Brandon Graham season-ending triceps injury. As we know, after a great game against the Rams, in what has been a fantastic season for BG, consummate pro, team leader, team captain, Philadelphia legend, Eagles icon, 15th year, age 36 season, he tore his triceps. He was all over the place against that Rams offense. A huge hit on Matthew Stafford for a sack, 2 TFLs, a quarterback hit, a pass breakup. He was making plays against the pass and against the run. It was such a bummer that he got hurt in that game with how well he played in it, how well he's played all year, and the status of his career. We don't know if that's the final time that we saw number 55 in an Eagles uniform. He's going to go down as one of the best Eagles of all time with that sack of Matthew Stafford, moved into 3rd place all time in the history of this organization in sacks, behind Reggie White and behind Trent Cole. But now that he's out for the year, Bryce Huff injured his wrist and had to undergo surgery. Philadelphia's a little bit thin at that defensive end spot. So they claimed edge rusher Charles Harris off of waivers from the Carolina Panthers. Harris is 29 years old. He has some pretty good size at 6'3", 250 pounds. The sack production hasn't been there. Been a little bit of a disappointing career for him, considering that he was a first-round pick back in 2017. He has 19.5 sacks in 99 career games. Fun note, that was the year that the Eagles took Derek Barnett instead of Harris. The best year of his career came somewhat recently back in 2021 with the Detroit Lions when he had 8 sacks and 36 hurries. He's never really fulfilled the expectations that a lot of people had for him when he was that first-round pick, but he's had a solid career this year, 3 sacks in 9 games, 1.5 in 13 games last year with Detroit. And so his numbers have been somewhat consistent. 16 hurries this year, not bad. That would be second on the Eagles among edge rushers now that Brandon Graham's season is over. So I expect him to maybe get some rotational snaps right from the jump. You can get more snaps from Nolan Smith, more snaps from Jalen Hunt. Josh Sweat will continue to do his thing. He leads the Eagles in sacks with 7. But I will say, anytime you sign an edge rusher this late in the year at the end of November, or you trade for an edge rusher at the NFL trade deadline, it's hard to get and yield immediate results. You think back to Robert Quinn. Wasn't able to do anything for this football team. They have to understand and master the scheme. Vic Fangio's defense is very complex. They have to get used to their surroundings, what is asked of them, and they have to squeeze all of that in a short amount of time. But given that the Eagles' depth has taken a hit with BG being out, Harris is going to need to play at least a little bit. Another thought here, there was some chatter about maybe the Eagles being interested in Shaq Barrett because he announced his retirement a few weeks ago and now is trying to come out of retirement. His agent is Drew Rosenhaus, who's a mover and shaker in the business, and Barrett wants to play somewhere. The Miami Dolphins do have his contractual rights. Shaq Barrett was looked at as a player who maybe the Eagles could pick up back in 2019 while playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had like 18.5, 19.5 sacks. He's had a really successful career. So some people were theorizing that maybe the Eagles could show some interest in him if he wants to come to Philadelphia. But with the Eagles putting this claim in on Harris, maybe that spells the end of some of that Barrett speculation. As for KJ Henry, could be a candidate to be elevated from the practice squad if he's not used in that capacity. He can serve as edge rusher depth if and when the Eagles need him. Henry is a player who is in his mid-20s. He turns 26 in January. He was taken by the Washington Commanders with a 5th-round pick, number 137 overall, back in the 2020 NFL Draft. Played 282 defensive snaps in 10 games, 3 starts as a rookie. He logged 19 total tackles, 4 TFLs, 2 pass deflections, and 1.5 sacks. There was some optimism about him and his outlook after the 2023 season. And he did have a pretty good training camp in the lead up to 2024, but then new regime comes in and he was never able to really get the confidence of new head coach Dan Quinn, and now he lands with the Eagles. As for some of those practice squad moves, Siaki, Ika, depth nose tackle, bounced between the active roster, or on and off the practice squad, might return again before the season is over, just because Vic Fangio kind of likes to have that nose tackle running this 3-4 as far as depth. That's why PJ Mustipher was with this team prior to the year. And for Ika, he's made a lot of transactions back and forth between being off the practice squad and on it. October 23rd of 2024, Eagles signed him to the taxi squad. On the 29th of October, they released him. November 20th, they brought him back. November 26th now, they have released him. Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. Eagles originally signed him to the practice squad back in late August. Not sure why they're moving on now, but it is worth noting that the Eagles have an open practice squad spot after cutting 2 players. So maybe they're going to use that other practice squad spot to bring in another defensive end. That's how you have to think about this, right? Like Philadelphia is looking at the depth being hurt at that defensive end's position. They sign Harris to the active roster. They sign one defensive end to the practice squad. They open up another practice squad spot. Do they want some flexibility there to perhaps bring in another player to the practice squad at that defensive end spot because of those aforementioned depth issues? So wanted to hop on the mic, give you that information here on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, a couple of roster moves when the Eagles make a move, or moves in this instance. We talk about it right here on the show. Myself and producer Chip will be live for a pre-Thanksgiving show tomorrow, Wednesday, November 27th at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, and then live again on Sunday. Eagles-Ravens watch party. Can't wait for that. One of the more anticipated matchups of the 2024 season.